Well, welcome to Bulgaria. We are in beautiful downtown Sophia. And if you look behind me, you can see a building that is clearly the end result of Soviet architecture, right? That's clearly Soviet back there. And I want to shatter, if you're like me, having grown up in the United States, I think we have an image of much of Eastern Europe as being kind of gray and depressed and downtrodden. And nothing could be further from the truth, my friends. There is a chain of stores here called Non-Stop. And what do they sell? Alcohol and tobacco. They are open 24 hours a day. And I mean, just look at how this city is hustling and bustling. No, it's not my regular time at all, Brandon. I'm in Sophia this week. And we're just going to do a short walking tour down here in Center City, because I gotta tell you, I mean, I like to think of myself as broad-minded, right? And I think I know a little bit about the world, but Sophia has completely shattered all of my preconceptions about what this town might be like. First of all, now just look at this. Do you see this? This is just an iced latte I got to go. But look, the girl put it in a canning machine and put a can top on there. I mean, it's such a simple, stupid thing. How did nobody ever think of this? How are we not doing this everywhere in the United States? It's insane. So, Jazzy, if you look behind me, right, you can see that's clearly some Soviet architecture there, right? And I am in a former Warsaw Pact nation, Bulgaria. But this country is on the move. There is just no two ways about it. In January, the euro will come in. They're part of the Schengen zone. I flew in from Warsaw. Nobody asked to see my passport. There's free movement between these nations and a spirit of emerging cooperation. People are excited about things that are coming to them. And for anybody who grew up in the Cold War like me and suffers any of these illusions about what Eastern Europe is like right now, behind me here is the Mall of Sophia, and we're going to go in there for 30 seconds, maybe a couple minutes, just to blow your mind, baby. They got everything here. There's a Mac store, there's an H&M, which is interesting because, of course, H&M pulled out of Ukraine when the war came. There's a lot of British tourists must come here because, hey, Renvox, because there's Happies everywhere and Haribo stands and things like that, right? British goods. So there's got to be a lot of British tourism here. But dudes, let me just take you inside the Mall of Sophia, which, by the way, is not to be confused with the Sophia Mall, which is less than a kilometer from here. Lev, it's beautiful here. Hey, their money is your name, you know. The Bulgarian Lev. But not for long. In January, the euro comes in. So collect your Lev now and put them in your coin collection. Dudes, come on. Here, let me flip the camera around. Let me show you the mall. Now just dig this. You know, see what I mean? Happies. That's like a London restaurant. And they've got them all over here. Now look. Does this feel like Eastern Europe to anybody? It is modern, clean, and all the brands that one would expect in any mall in continental Europe or Great Britain, one would expect in any mall in continental Europe or Great Britain. You got eye stations. There's If we come down here, I mean, you get it, right? You feel it, right? There is look at KFC. I mean, it couldn't be more modern. It couldn't be more bustling than any place you'd find anywhere else. They got a billiard hall up here. Here's the Haribo stand. Bankomats, of course. It's too bad I can't get Bassett's Jelly Babies. I would like a Bassett's Jelly Babies. Oh no, I'm wrong. It's not a billiard store. It's a store called Billa. Okay. There's the H&M down there. English home decor. I thought there was an exit over here. I guess we'll just walk back. But just to give you some sense, I mean, this is not our parents' Bulgaria. Not by any stretch of the imagination. Exactly, Brandon. No Westerner would feel out of place walking in this mall. Leon, we're in Sophia, Bulgaria. We're at the Mall of Sophia. And for me, just walking in this place just completely redefined for me everything that I thought that I knew about this country. I mean, look at, you got an IKEA up there. Very fashionable, very modern. You know what I have not seen since I've been in this country is anybody wearing a pair of Crocs. That's one of the things that in the last, not even 24 hours. In the last 24 hours, I haven't seen a single pair of Crocs. The other thing that I can't help but notice is just how busy everything is, right? It's a major European capital. It's a city of 2 million people. Look at them lined up here at the money changers because people are moving, right? They're coming, they're going. Tourists are coming here. People are leaving from here to go to other places. Cody, what do you mean what? Have I exposed myself as an ugly American who had terrible preconceptions about what Eastern Europe was like? Which is true. I did. Now, here's a big thing for me. There's construction going on, not as much construction as is on hold in Kyiv. But that only makes sense because Kyiv is a city twice as big, right? 4 million people. But here, the construction projects are not interfered with by the war. They are not delayed. Oh, look at this. Here, let me see if I can get a better view. Let's get out here in the street. I mean, look at the hustle and bustle, right? Do you see that? Look at that mountain range up there. Good. We're going to get stuck here. Perfect. Look at that mountain range up there. This city is surrounded by mountains. The geography here and the climate is complex. So to the north, you've got continental winters, snowy, wet winters in the north part of the country. The southern part of the country is influenced by the Mediterranean. And then the eastern part of the country is a maritime climate on the Black Sea, where the winters are tempered by the sea there. Look at that mountain range. The city of Sophia sits down in the valley surrounded by these mountains, and it appears arid. I don't know, but there's an awful lot of drought-resistant species of trees and a lot of scrub brush up there, and pine, but not a lot of the things we might see elsewhere. You know, another thing that struck me, oh, now look at that building, look at that. Right, so first you got the very modern Mall of Sophia here. Oh, there's an electric bus rather. You got the very, very modern Mall of Sophia here. And then right next to it, you've got some apartment complexes built in the Soviet style from the time of the Warsaw Pact, right? The Cold War. Oh, Cody loves his Crocs. Motherfucker. I don't care. You should be ashamed of yourself. Sure, they got an IMAX. Why wouldn't they have an IMAX? They got an H&M. Dude, they got everything here. You get a coffee to go, and they put a can lid on it so that it will never spill until you open it. I don't know why we are not doing that everywhere. It was so brilliant. It was so easy for her to do. And it really blew my mind that nobody's ever thought of it. At least not where I live, they haven't. We're in downtown, right in the heart of the city. And so there's a lot of home decor and home furnishing shops. I'm going to call out. There's a place over there. You can see it. It's all in Cyrillic. We are, of course, in the country where Cyril and Methodius came to develop the Cyrillic alphabet. And so if you've got some familiarity with any of the Cyrillic languages, any of the languages that use Cyrillic characters, you can get around here just fine. Even just knowing a little bit of Ukrainian, I can read a lot of these signs. I have an idea of what, oh, Jazzy, the food. Oh my goodness. I'm going to get out and eat some more food soon. But look, I want to point out that place across the street there. If you're in Bulgaria and you're looking to buy or sell gold, see that guy coming out of the shop right there? I thought it was a currency exchange place. So I went in and he corrected me and then very graciously pointed me to where the currency exchange was. Great guy, nice little shop there. If you're looking to buy or sell gold when you're in Sophia, I highly recommend this guy over here, just across from the mall of Sophia. Nice tree-lined streets, a lot of oak, particularly drought-resistant species. Now you look down here, right? And there's just a little residential street that just screams the heart of Eastern Europe. Right next to what's obviously a modern office complex there. This place has everything. And what it doesn't have is war. And so the 2 million people here aren't staying inside, aren't avoiding the military police so that they can hide from conscription. Everybody is out and about. And, there's that whole segment of mothers with children who have left Ukraine that are here, of course. And I have run into a couple Ukrainians already. But they're missing from the streets of Kyiv. Anybody need sneakers? There is skiing in Ukraine. In point of fact, they're right now in the process of developing the largest ski resort in the Carpathians. It's a private equity project that got started before the war. And that project is ongoing. They just broke ground and started clearing trees for slopes this past summer. I am in Bulgaria, in beautiful downtown Sophia. And it really is. It's great. So far, the people are very friendly. The food is excellent. Every modern amenity you could imagine is here. Later on, I'll record a video of the hotel room, which is remarkably advanced. The technology that's involved was really impressive to me. And we'll show that off. The customer service was terrible. I will say that. But the hotel room itself, once you get the hang of everything, is a dream. An absolute dream. Ooh, that looks good. Ooh, that looks real good. Go fresh. This is I mean, a display like this is exactly what you see everywhere in Kyiv. A lot of sweets. You know, it is funny. People get used to things so fast, and their absence as well. In Kyiv, where civilian air traffic has completely been suspended, the sound of anything in the sky is a cause for concern. Yesterday, the first few planes that flew over really caught my attention. But you adjust, right? You adapt. I'm back in civilization. I'm back where it's normal to have a busy international airport in your capital city. Of course it is. And it's painful that we don't have that right now in Kyiv. You got kids here, Squabby. You want me to look them up? Should we do a live with them? Here's a square. You take a look at the little park there, you can see it's either been a particularly dry summer, or, as I rather suspect, the climate here tends to be arid. Looking at what's growing on the mountainside, I tend to think that, but I'm not sure. Now that's an old one. There's a lot of modern ones around, but that one's older. Another high-rise going up there. It's a city and a country that's on the brink, I think, of explosive growth. I think when the euro comes in January, that's very much going to change things. Hey, Polino, how you doing, buddy? Right now, I'm in beautiful downtown Sophia. And it's really exciting, I gotta tell you. The place is just bustling. And it blows my mind, man. How many people speak English? At least enough to, like, order a coffee, order dinner, get around, find directions. And people are, generally good about that. Let's see, if I go this way, I don't know if I can get back to the hotel. Well, you know what? Let's just walk up here. I'll figure it out. This is a little disconcerting. You'll notice there is no crosswalk here. There is no light. And you kind of just have to watch your back and get the fuck across. And everybody seems to do it quite nonchalantly. I haven't quite adjusted to that yet. Ooh, that's nice. That shade is cool, refreshing. I like it. But it's really a pleasure to be here. And I appreciate everybody that made it possible. And so I wanted to share kind of first observations, first responses, and initial impressions. Let's cross through the park, because I think the hotel is back this way. Oh, here's a nice bronze. Let's take a look. All right, and I've got my first workshop today is at 2:30, and registration starts before that. So this is going to be a short one. We'll just take in this bronze here, and then we'll head out. This is somebody named, or maybe that's the artist, I don't know. Shabrezny? I think it's Shabrezny. Shabreznish. Not sure. I don't know who this fella is. And I can't quite make out what that book says. Anybody know? Oh, no offense taken, Disneyac. That's a great question. No, I am not paid to promote this city or this country. I am not paid at all by anybody. And that gives me a great sense of freedom, boy. No, my thoughts are my own, and they are just my subjective experience and impressions. What do we got down here? Pomatonook. Oh, no, I'm no good at... I can't tell what that is. Oh, no, that looks like the artist's name. Sayamat. So then this must be the name of the guy. Shebrenish. So I'll have to do a Google on him after we're done. So yeah, dude, no, I'm completely independent. All right, everybody relax. Everybody relax. The people that tune into this station or into this channel, they demonstrate a protectiveness that is deeply humbling and very much appreciated. Though in this case, not necessary. We deal with a lot of Russian trolls in here. And of course, we deal with a lot of Russian trolls because normally I am in Kyiv, Ukraine. And what I do in Kyiv is I try to ensure that there is a healthy English-speaking ecosystem of events where Ukrainians can practice their English in a social setting with no barrier to entry. My events are always free and made possible through the generous supporters of this channel. And why do I think that that's important? Well, I think that it's important because you look around here, right? And so many people are at least able to function in English. Might be hard to have a conversation about philosophy, but conversational English is everywhere. As Ukraine continues to turn toward the West, here, you know what? Let me turn this around. Thanks, Renvox. Thanks, Nicola. No, get out of here, Bugsy. No, it wasn't Shevchenko. Because that wasn't a V, that was a B. I don't know, maybe I'm wrong. I'll have to go back there and see. It is. Lev says it is Shevchenko. Oh man, Shevchenko. I love that guy. I didn't know who Taras Shevchenko was before I moved to Kyiv. And then I got exposed to his poetry and his stories. And they are often heartbreakingly beautiful. And I can't recommend them enough to anybody. Okay. Well, that's interesting. So we have... Now, look, one of the reasons why Catherine the Great tried to ban the Ukrainian language in 1796 was because of the increasing popularity of Taras Shevchenko's work after his death. And so 1796, we see the first real effort by the Russians to stamp out the Ukrainian language. And it was very much related to Shevchenko's work. Now, I don't know who Andrei Shevchenko is. So I don't know. I'll try to find out about that bronze, and I'll come back and I'll do a video on it. a capital, what we would think of in English as a capital B, in Cyrillic is a V. But a lowercase b, what we would think of as a lowercase b in Cyrillic, is a B. And I was sure that that was a lowercase b, though certainly I could be mistaken. So I'll try to get back there and take a look at that because that is beautiful. Oh, look it. You need frames, you need some parquet, you need some woodwork. That looks like nice stuff right there. Yes, it does. Okay. Now, I was going to say something else. Hey, Paul Tennant. How you doing, buddy? I was definitely going to say something else about... look at that place. Now, that's pre-1917, I would think, or right around that time. But I don't know, right? Like, in Kyiv, having lived there for 3 years, I've picked up a few things about the architecture, but I don't know anything about Sophia. I really don't know anything. Like, its history is unknown to me. Oh, hey, hang on. Cursive B and V are very similar, exactly. And that could be why I made a mistake there. But I don't know. Oh, good, I know right where I am. Yes! Awesome sauce. Not bad for not even 24 hours in the country yet, huh? Here you got a cobblestone street. Oh, let me turn the camera around, sorry. Hey, Pete, morning. And I couldn't quite read the title of the book. I couldn't... Kobzar. I'm plugging along, pal. Well, Cody, it's sort of... Oh, that's where I was going with this. Huh. Dude, I'm exhausted. I mean, just getting out of Kyiv these days is such an effort. 17 hours on the bus, right? And just to get to Warsaw so you can take a plane then. But that's a nice looking place, isn't it? But the thing about English speaking events, one of the projects that we do in Kyiv is Laughter is the Best Medicine Kyiv. It is Sammy hits it on the head there. The V has a loop, B has a single tail. Thank you, Sammy. Nope, this is Sophia, Bulgaria. And, I mean, just look at it. A charming, charming town. So how awesome is that to run into a statue of Taras Shevchenko while we're in Sophia? I love that. So one of the projects that we do is Laughter is the Best Medicine Kyiv, which is a comedy troupe of Ukrainians who do English comedy in English. And this is great for them because, hang on, it was amazing, wasn't it? That was a beautiful bronze. Love a good bronze. So in my estimation, right, if you're trying to learn another language, the litmus test for fluency is, do you get the jokes? That's the litmus test for fluency. And for performers, like the people that I work with, being able to write the jokes is just the next level. So we do these comedy nights in English once a month. Our next show is coming up on October 4th. And in addition to regular stand-up comedy, we're doing audience participation, improvisation, because the audience is there to practice their English too. And so I am at the Sophia International Improv Conference this week. And I actually have to go back to the hotel, get my shit together, and head up to registration. My first workshop starts at 2:30. So that's why I'm in Kyiv. Or I'm in Sophia, rather. Why I went through the hassle of leaving Kyiv to come here. And my hope is that I'll be able to learn some methods, some techniques, some games that I can bring back and teach the company of Ukrainians who will then use those in our performances and in everything that we do moving forward. So that's what I'm doing here. Right, Pete? Jokes don't translate, man. Jokes are specific to the language they are told in. Yes, Jimmy Kimmel is back, which just goes to show you that in a capitalist economy, if people vote with their wallets, you can affect change. I know I canceled Disney. And I got to tell you, I'm really glad that I can sign back up again because I did not want to miss the end of Peacemaker season 2. But I was willing to do it in the righteous cause of free speech. So I'm certainly glad that our boy Kimmel is back on the air. Wow, look at this old place here behind me. A lot of jokes, rather than just being translated, need to be transliterated. That is to say, you take the sense of the joke and then you use different words in the language and cultural reference points in the language that you're translating it to so that it is meaningful to the audience in that language, right? Okay. Can you give us a very quick insight into the Ukrainians pushing forward, pal? Heard they are. Yes, they are. Yes, they are. Now, unfortunately, I'm not as up to the minute with this as I would normally be because I've been trapped in a bus and a plane, buses and airports for the last couple days, not always with internet access. So, oh my God, it's like 80 degrees. That's what, like, it's 30 plus. It's going to be 30 plus today for the Celsius crowd. So Pete's got a great question. And the question is, what's happening on the battlefield of Ukraine? Well, do you guys know who Hamish to Breton Gordon is? Trump's words were positive, but it doesn't matter. He's a piece of shit who has sold us all out to Vladimir Putin. If Vladimir Putin now is defeated, all that will mean for Trump is that he's the last big man standing. He will then think that he can rule the world and not just North America like he was planning. So on last night's live, I wouldn't even report Trump's words because I think that they are completely meaningless. And of all the things that he did say, the one thing that we should pay attention to was that he said, I'll know in a month if Vladimir Putin is serious about peace. A month. Now it's a month. It used to be 2 weeks. Right? Of course, it was 2 weeks for 5 months. So, Hamish to Breton Gordon, who is a chemical weapons expert, nuclear weapons expert, and a former tank commander for the British Army, who is now a journalist and reporter for Times Radio, Ukraine the Latest, the podcast, from The Telegraph, a commentator and author of books on... The guy's brilliant, right? And he's got the experience to be able to say the words, and he has said the words repeatedly over the last couple weeks. In my opinion, the Russian army has culminated. The Russian army has culminated. Now, in terms of armies, 3 years ago, if you asked me what the word culminate means, I wouldn't have been able to tell you. But now, what I understand it to mean is that they are simply out of juice. They can't move forward anymore. And they are exhausted, they are undermanned, they are underarmed. Their logistics have been methodically, precisely cut off by the Ukrainians. Not to mention, the Ukrainians keep making these precision decapitation strikes against Russian command. So we just saw a Russian command post in Zaporizhia eliminated, where 4 generals, 9 majors, 4 captains, and 6 lieutenants were taken out in one shot. The entire command and control of the Zaporizhian Southern Military District in one shot. That creates absolute chaos in the ranks, because the Russian army doesn't have, as I understand it, the Russian army doesn't have a non-commissioned officer class that is actually empowered to make decisions in the field. Everything is very centralized, from Putin to his generals, from his generals to the men. And so the flexibility of decision making in the field that in a Western army we take for granted simply does not exist for the Russian military. Overworked and underpaid is a wild oversimplification, boy. I mean, they beat these guys. They starve these guys. They literally torture these guys. So overworked and underpaid is a generous sentiment, if I may suggest. So the other big thing that we have seen over the last 18 months from the Ukrainians is an evolving air superiority capability. One of the things that's made this conflict so static is that no one has achieved air superiority in Ukraine. The Russians should have been able to do it right from the get-go, but we have not seen the Russian Air Force, or pardon me, aerospace forces, strike a single supply train out of Poland. We have not seen them interfere with Europe to Kyiv logistics in any way. And so what we have today are F-16s, MiG-29s armed with AASM French hammers, which is a precision-guided munition, absolutely pummeling the front line. Just Ukrainian precision strikes against Russian air defense assets and radar assets, all up and down the front line. Some Ukrainian propaganda channels are now suggesting that they have destroyed all of the Russian radars along the front line. The Russians are now blind, and the Ukrainian Air Force is able to operate with impunity, with absolute impunity all up and down the front line. And we're seeing it from Tetkino down through Zaporizhia, just the Air Force hitting fortifications and command centers, drone operators, drone assembly facilities, and eliminating them, taking them out of the equation. Then on the back end, you've got the rail infrastructure hits, the fuel hits, starving, simply cutting off the life's blood of the front line to them. Now, Pingu says, I hope all their oil refineries will be destroyed. They should all ride bicycles. Pingo, you're great, man. Now, look, I don't know that we really want that. Because, of course, Russia provides 5 million barrels of oil to the world a day. And that's a concern. It has held the Russians, it has held the West back, because we don't want to destroy our own economies in the meantime, right? But that's changing. OPEC, that had reduced its production by curiously enough, 5 million barrels a day 2 years ago, is now ramping up oil production to the tune of about 2 million barrels a day, which is precisely how much oil production has fallen in Russia. It looks to me like Mohammed bin Salman is betting that he can make some money as Russian oil infrastructure comes offline. Gas is up to $4 a gallon again. That's because Trump is doing absolutely nothing to bring it down. Everything that Trump is doing is driving inflation, driving energy prices, driving consumer confidence down while driving prices up and putting people out of work. It's not impossible that we will lose that entire Hyundai contract. That's $8.5 billion invested in the U.S. And I want to say, I don't know, I could be wrong, 8,500 jobs? I think it's 8,500 jobs that just disappeared because we're losing that South Korean investment now. The recession is on its way, Twisted Sister. The recession is on its way. So, to go back to the initial question that Pete asked about what's happening on the front line. What's happening on the front line could not be happening without the last 18 months of preparation. Without the elimination of the radars, without the elimination of artillery, without the cutting off of the Russian logistics to starve the front of ammo and food. And it's only now, when the Ukrainians are exerting true air superiority against the frontline targets, it's only now that Russian logistics are in the mess that they are in, that the opportunity presents itself for the Ukrainians to begin to push forward. And that's exactly what we're seeing in the Dobropilla sector. That's exactly what we're seeing in the Kupiansk sector. All of these breakthroughs, these so-called breakthroughs, of small groups of infiltration troops that get behind the Ukrainian front lines are being systematically sliced and diced out of existence. The Ukrainians recaptured something in the neighborhood of, I think, 164 square kilometers in the last 10 days. And I believe, now, of course, I don't know, maybe the Russians will bring in a bunch of North Korean troops and stabilize the front. I'm not in Kyiv today. I live in Kyiv. I've been in Kyiv for the last almost 3 years now. But today I'm in Sophia, Bulgaria. How long before they start firing off flamingos are they waiting? So here's the problem with the flamingos, right? The flamingos are great. They have a long range. They're precision-guided munition with a heavy payload. It's exactly what the Ukrainians need and they don't currently have. The problem with them is they are not stealthy in any way. I'm having a hard time confirming some of these reports that I've been reading. But remember there was that first hit in Crimea with 3 flamingos? The Ukrainian army isn't saying. But there are some outlets suggesting that 2 of those were taken out by the Russians. Now, if that's true, if they took out 2 out of 3 of them, that means that for every one that's going to make it to the target, you got to fire 3. And so I think that maybe there may also be a production delay because the solid rocket fuel boosters are not being produced in Ukraine. They're being produced in Denmark. And so it could be that while Ukrainian domestic production of the missile body and warhead has ramped up to, they're claiming, Firepoint is claiming, they're producing 50 a month now. Even though that production has ramped up, we may still be waiting for the solid rocket fuel boosters. But I think it's a question of mass. I think that if, in fact, the lack of stealth that the Flamingo has means you have to fire 3 for every one that's going to reach a target, then they've got to have lots of them when they finally go. And So I think what we're about to see, right? What we've been seeing is we've been seeing all these drone strikes against oil infrastructure and military industrial base infrastructure, right? But those hits are like gnats. They're annoyances to the Russians. Because the biggest warhead that the long-range drones that the Ukrainians have can carry is 250 kilograms. And there aren't many of those, I want to point out. The average long-range warhead has only a 100-kilogram charge. Well, 75 to 120, so average 100, say. That can't do a lot of damage against an oil refinery that's 4 kilometers long by 3 kilometers wide. Come on. Even with the telemetry, the good data and intelligence to strike the cracking units, the refining units, the critical components, with only 100 kilos of TNT equivalent, you can't do real long-term damage. However, what they have acquired through these hits is an understanding of where Russian air defense assets are. The telemetry needed to guide the flamingos successfully to their targets. And you can be sure that the Ukrainian AI is slicing and dicing that telemetry so that when it's time to launch the flamingos, however many they have to launch to get to the target, it's my belief that we will see flocks of flamingos migrating eastward and peppering critical infrastructure targets inside Russia. Now, you think about the damage that the Ukrainians are doing to the Russian economy right now with just those little drones. In Nizhny Novgorod, you got people lined up for kilometers, running out of gas, waiting for gas, the little bit that they can get that's being rationed to them. And that they're paying, well, if they were Americans, they'd be paying $13.90 a gallon. You think you got it hard. Imagine being a Russian who makes $500 a month, paying the PPP equivalent of $13.90 a gallon. Poor. We don't look at Israel on this channel because this channel is a Ukrainian-focused channel. Well, Pingo, look, there's no panacea for this war. There's no one weapon that's going to hand victory to the Ukrainians. The only thing that's going to hand victory to the Ukrainians is Ukrainian blood, Ukrainian ingenuity, Ukrainian technology, and Ukrainian persistence. It is the will of the Ukrainian people to never live again under the yoke of Russian oppression. The spirit of looking to the future that seems to imbue the people of Sophia, at least this generation that's coming up, as they look forward to full EU integration and the euro coming to town, is a kind of bellwether statement about where the future of humanity is going. We can choose a path where a few people have all the power, all the money, all the wealth, and they think that they can buy and sell the rest of us. Or we can choose a path where opportunity exists for all. And that's the future that I know I want my son to grow up in. Top Geezer Pete. Yeah. I'll take that. The Russian trolls have taken to calling me Uncle Peter, which is interesting, I have to say. But yeah, they love me in St. Petersburg, I guess. So, Pete, as I understand it, the Ukrainian armed forces are making advances in the Dobropilla sector and in Kupiansk and in Sumy. There have been small advances along the Crimea line, too, like a square kilometer here, some Russian positions dislodged there, but nothing like we're seeing in Sumy, where the 810th Marine Division is currently surrounded, or just about surrounded. They're in a cauldron, and those units are not going anywhere. I don't know, Pete. Kaliningrad has posters. Posters of what? Oh, I'm definitely laughing. Oh, I'm laughing all the time. I'm laughing all the time. Did you see Solyov, right, the Russian propagandist? He gave away the secret location of the Rubicon drone base when he did his video tour of the place. He was doing a puff piece on Rubicon because they are dangerous motherfuckers. Like, let's be clear. Rubicon is a competent, innovative, cutting-edge group of drone operators inside Russia. And they and Donald Trump were chiefly responsible for pushing the bulk of the Ukrainian forces out of Kursk. So they are dangerous. And Solyov was doing a puff piece on them, just showing off to the world how awesome they are, right? And he's not wrong. I want to point that out. He is not wrong. Only thing was, in the video, they didn't blur out the sign over the toilet. Now, you say to yourself, how could the sign over the toilet possibly give away the location of the drone base? Because the sign was in the Patriot International Exhibition Hall just outside Moscow. And so it was an electronic sign that would change from toilet in Cyrillic, right, like you would expect in a Russian exhibition hall, to WC for the international crowd that they expected would be coming to exhibitions in the Patriot Exhibition Hall outside of Moscow. Not that that's ever happened. So you have this very uniquely designed electronic sign that's switching between an English toilet sign and a Russian toilet sign captured on the video and not blurred out. From there, it was not much of a stretch, apparently, for the Ukrainian intelligence officers to determine from the rest of the video that Rubicon was in exhibition halls C and D, and to then target them. And that is precisely what happened. Now, I don't know if Rubicon moved after that, if they found it untenable to stay there, but those strikes came back in March and May. And that was after Solyov had gone on one of his many rants about how anybody who casually gives away, allows for the geolocation of our troops because of stupid video pieces that they publish for clicks online should be executed. Well, it is funny. Karma is a bitch, boy. And the world is full of irony. Wouldn't it be funny if Solyov found himself with his back up against the wall because of his toilet sign and his rhetoric? Anyway, I did find that funny. Who was that person before that said I was smart? Somebody said I was smart. Are you still here? And I don't know what's happening in Kaliningrad. I don't know what you're talking about with the signs in Kaliningrad. Wrocław is here, which is a town in Poland, about 500 kilometers from the Ukrainian border, far to the west of Warsaw. Hi, Gypsy. Hey, Topher. Topher? I used to know a kid named Topher. Well, he wasn't named Topher. His name was Christopher, but his family called him Topher. Good kid, had a nice little business, IT consulting firm in Long Island. Biden should have done more before the traitor took office. We betrayed our allies. Yes, Topher, you're absolutely right. I couldn't agree more. Hey, Betty Thompson. I'm just about to finish up here. We've been walking around Sophia, Bulgaria. And I got to tell you, for all of my... You know, it's hard if you've never been someplace and all you've ever seen are videos and news reports, you get a very false preconception about what a place is like. I cannot tell you how vibrant, how alive, how busy, how bustling, how modern this city is. Look at this. Right, I showed this off before. So I ordered a latte to go so I could get some coffee in me. And the girl takes this from the barista and puts it in a canning machine and puts a pop top on it. Why are we not doing this everywhere? Why is not every Starbucks served this way? I mean, this is a thing of beauty right here. I got to tell you. No risk you're going to spill this in the car. And that's just a casual example of something cool that they're doing at one cafe. Yeah, Neil, that's a great idea. Somebody ought to patent that and sell it to Starbucks. Well, Topher, I mean, you're not wrong. I'm not saying you're wrong. But at the very least, after he was convicted of 34 felonies, he should have been put in fucking jail and not made president of the United States. We literally have a criminal president in charge who is selling out every one of our most cherished and trusted beliefs in order to line his own pockets while bankrupting the American economy and bankrupting our reputation in the world and our ability to project power in the world. So you're not wrong. Okay, kids, I got to get going. My day starts in about an hour, and it'll go right through until I get back here to do the live tonight. So hopefully I will see you all later this evening. Thanks so much. Thanks for dropping by, everybody. I hope you enjoyed this little insight into Sophia here, and have a beautiful day. Have a beautiful day, Nicola. Cheers, Aces. Thanks, Sammy. See you, Pingu. You too, Toph. Paka paka. Thanks, Paul. I love that paka paka. Thanks, Chips. Thanks, Lars. Hey, Arna. How you doing, pal? Hey, Neil Steven. All right, kids. Take care.